Okay, let's see. We're live. So theoretically, oh, someone already joined. 5 people are here. 3 people are here. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get myself prepared because I'm trying to record it at the same time. So theoretically, I'll be able to get this done. One can only hope. So I'm gonna see if I can see myself on Periscope and bear with me. Oh, take 2. Okay. All right, I can see myself and I'm actually, oh, okay, we'll see it. Um, let's see. Oh, I don't know if it's going to record the sound. Well, the one thing I really want to restore, I see you. Excellent. Someone sees me. I may have to move this closer or get glasses because oh, it's over here, but it comes in late. So I know I talk to myself a lot when I'm doing these. I just did this with a friend just to make sure that things were working, and I was talking to myself while she was in Walmart. It was kind of fun. So let's see if I can at least record the video, sort of. I don't know. It's got bad reception. Well, at least I can see the stuff here, so at least well, maybe we'll be able to view stuff. I got too much noise going on my computer over here. Anyway, so we got some people joining. Thank you. I think this is gonna be fun. I had a lot of fun doing it today at my the ASG morning group. For those of you that aren't familiar with American Sewing Guild, oh my gosh, you're always looking for classes on machine embroidery or sewing or different topics. American Sewing Guild is like a group of all of your friends that are just as addicted to the fabric and the threads and whatever it is that you love, and you get together, once, twice. We have 3 groups in our local area: a morning group, an evening group, and we have one dedicated to garment sewing. So it's just that's what their main focus is. And we get together once a month and to give mini lessons, and that's what mine was on today. And I said, I'd really like to share this because I tell people about American Sewing Guild all the time, but I don't think they realize that you can learn so much without having to leave your local area. And what's nice is that every month someone usually does a presentation of something, and we had 2 today, and we've actually split it up so that each month 2 different people do 2 different topics, and you cover so much information, and you learn so much and get so many ideas, and I just wanted to share it with all of you. So it was a good opportunity for me. We have 17 people on here. Those that aren't familiar with Periscope, I'm learning, so I'm right there with you. You can click on, there's a little button on the bottom that has a little sound bubble, and you can type in it, and I can say hi. And if I can read, I'd probably need reading glasses. I'd be able to see who it was that was saying hello to me, but you can all see their comments if you see it. Say something like, are you guys not hearing me? Is my volume off? Uh-oh. Hi. Awesome. Oh, people are posting their highs, and if you tap on the screen, that's what the bubble says. Say something. Yes, if you click the bubble, you get your little keyboard, and you can either ask me a question, which will come up a little delayed because of my wonderful high-speed internet access out here in Bufu, Elbert, Colorado. Or if you tap on the screen, that kind of says, it's like giving me a thumbs up and saying, ooh, I like what you're saying. Or you can ask me a question and I can try to address it. But Periscopes are pretty low-key live video. What you see is what you get. And I'm going to take this, hopefully, and edit it and put it on YouTube. Theoretically, that is the goal. So we had a great time doing that this morning. The problem was I didn't get to see any of the comments or questions, and I didn't actually record it properly. So I thought, well, let's do it again tonight, and I'll be able to share it with everyone. So today's topic is on printed fabric. And I've been playing with printed fabric for many years. You've seen maybe memory quilts or pillows or things that are done where you actually can print on the fabric, and put it into your project that you have in mind. This was one of my earlier ones that I had done. And it's basically, I can go like this and see where I am. It's a tote bag that has pictures of my grandkids that I've printed on canvas. And I should probably turn off my notifications. So hopefully you're not getting beeps that people are texting me while this is going on. That's the beauty of this informal setting. So printing on fabric, there's been many ways, and I've never liked the whole bubble jet set where you treat the fabric and press it and iron it to wax paper and put it to the printer, and I'm all about easy. So if I can't make it simple, which is basically pre-cut sheets put into my inkjet printer, I'm not doing it. So many years ago, I was in Las Vegas at one of the very first machine embroidery conventions, and I met this woman, Lori, who was selling this printable fabric, and I fell in love with it because it was one of the first fabrics that was out there, because it's come a long way, that actually didn't bleed, or you didn't have to do this whole rigmarole for heat setting it. And the colors were actually very crisp, and it came in a variety of fabrics, from cotton poplin to lawn, linen, canvas, which is what this is printed on to match the tote bag, which became a pocket, to silk chiffon. So that was available, but this was like 15 years ago, because I have been doing this a long time. Recently I was at Houston, because I go to the Houston Quilt Festival. It should be on your bucket list. If you haven't gone to Houston, oh my gosh, it's like it doesn't even matter if you don't quilt. I don't quilt, but it's so much information. And one of the booths there was this booth called Texlon, and they were selling printable fabric. And I was like, oh my gosh, this looks like the stuff I bought from Laura years ago. And he said, well, I guess they're somehow associated with each other, whether you bought out the company or whatever it was, but now the products that I couldn't get anymore, I can get now. So I'm going to I haven't figured out how to get it onto my website yet. I've been trying to work on getting a tripod set up with my phone, not cattywampus, but I have a PDF file that will be linked on my blog with a link to the video when it gets to YouTube. So you'll all have this information written, but this is the product that I really like the best, and you can see the website link down here. Should be printablefabrics.com, and this is that's just one of the information sheets that it has. And here's the one I wanted to print. Oh, here. This is the cotton poplin. This is one of my most favorite types of printable fabric because it's got a nice, soft, crisp, clean finish. Now that's very important, so that I have a couple samples here, and I'm not sure my lighting is that great, but I've used a variety of, these are just a few of the samples that I've used for printing. These are the ones that I have from Electric Quilt, from Jacquard. They're the ones that I have had the best results with. They feed through the printer nice, they don't jam, and they seem to wash and hold up well. Be sure to follow the instructions. They all come with instructions on how to set afterwards and how to feed it through the printer and get the best results. If you don't follow the instructions, who knows what happens. What's nice about the Electric Quilt version is that it's got a plasticky backing to it, so it doesn't feel like cardboard. So it goes through the printer very nicely. The one, I'm not sure if you can tell the difference in here. I'll probably have to take some nice high res photos when my husband comes back and let him take some. But there's a difference in the shading of the fabric color itself. I haven't purchased every single style of fabric that's out there available, so the Electric Quilt one that I have has a very antique look compared to the Texlon version, which is a nice crisp bright white. And where you really notice is when you have a nice high contrast. Oh, my lighting is really bad. I'm gonna have to take good photos. But in the colors on the top of the photographs. When you have a crisp photo, when you have a nice smooth finish fabric, like the cotton poplin, it looks like it's printed on paper. So the ink is able to absorb nice into the fibers, and that's really what you want it to look like. You want to look like you custom printed fabric. Now, the projects that I work on mostly are for machine embroidery, because that is what I do. And this is one of the free projects I have on my blog, and I give the instructions on how to create the embroidered digitized design that has a printed fabric applique. Now, that is done in the Embroidery Stitch Artist software. What it does is, if you noticed, these sheets all have flower cutouts. So my photo is die cut, and that is done in the software. So if you, in Stitch Artist, it's part of the software program, and there will be a follow-up how-to video on how to continue with the project, because this is all part of a series that I have planned in my head. But if you don't have that function, if you're not using Stitch Artist, you're using a different program, you'll want to open your photo into that graphics program and use a clipping tool. A clipping mask is what it's called. And the mask, such as a heart shape or a flower shape, that is what it does, is you bring the photo in and you apply the clipping mask to it, and it basically crops it to this particular shape so that when you print it on your fabric, it prints in a shape. So if you're using graphic software, and the PDF file will have some links and some information on those different programs you can use, you'll want to save your image cropped, bring this into your software program, and digitize around it. Now you're probably wondering why I have these flowers. And this is my granddaughter and my daughter and my husband and my grandson. So I love it for printing on fabric for memory quilts. And this was a project I had done at the studio. This was the first one I started. First of all, I had to stick Charles is my grandson, and I had to put him in a rocket ship. So if you notice, this is a pillow, and in the window is Charles, and that's printed on fabric in a circular shape and cut out with the cutting machine. And this was done on a Brothers Scan and Cut, which is very nice because when you have it printed, you can put this on your mat, scan it into the Scan and Cut, and use your cut file to create your perfect shape that you just printed. So it looks like a die cut applique shape. So this was a circular shape that I did, and I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to do a project of flowers? Because I'm a grandmother and I have a garden of grandchildren. Then I decided to do it for a family type project. Now I must apologize because this came out of my bag and it's still a little bit wrinkled, but this is the work in progress. I don't know if you can see it from there. And it has, in the center of each flower is the photo applique that is embroidered down in place. Now, I had planned, this was done in the open studio at the Houston Quilt Festival in front of everybody, and I was just a little bit nervous, just like I was this morning at the ASG meeting doing my first Periscope, and I forgot to put the 3D petals under the first one. So we had to do it again because I got to repeat this for 2.5 hours. And this is how the project is supposed to work. So I have my bias binding stems, and I have my photo applique that's an embroidery design. It puts my photo behind it printed. And underneath this are my 3D flower petals created from scraps, and they're all stitched in the hoop. I have a simple embroidery design. And the trick is when you do your placement stitch for your applique center, use that to place your petals around the outside. And I use little pieces of water-soluble adhesive stabilizer right along the edge. I don't know if you can see that there. It's water-soluble stabilizer, sticky, so that all the petals are held in place, and then you place your fabric applique on top, put it at your machine, and stitches everything in place. Because it's water-soluble stabilizer, it's just holding it there, and you don't have to worry about it getting in the way. So we all have scraps of water-soluble adhesive stabilizer plenty of them, and we're saving them for that purpose that we need to use someday. So, I don't see any questions coming up on my screen. Hopefully I didn't turn it off, but I wanted to, let's see, I did talk about the fabric and gave you the website for that. I will put the PDF file with my notes on my blog with the link to this video. And as a follow-up, I'm going to actually redo this project. So you will see how I created the applique with the photo behind it, cut the shape, saved it as my cut files, the SVG format, and printed them all out on my fabric paper and cut them out in my cutting machine and went to the embroidery machine and stitched them out. So this is going to be like a whole progress of different projects, different little videos, and so I'll be on Periscope. I have a few sessions planned already. Does it come in different fabrics? Yes. The printable fabric, the one I like the best is poplin because it's nice and smooth. You can get it in cotton twill. You can get it in, they have it cotton lawn. I've printed on silk, silk chiffon, silk charmeuse. It comes in a whole different, obviously the silk ones are a little bit more expensive than the cotton ones, but depending on your project that you're working on. For example, when I was doing this tote bag, this is a very textured material. So when I printed it, I wanted to make it on a companion fabric. So this is printed on a cotton canvas. I guess it's cotton. Don't remember what it was exactly, but so it's a different type of fabric that's there. Most of them, like this one here from Jacquard, this is the silk that it will print it on. And it's what's nice is that once you print the picture and you trim it, you peel the backing off of it because it's usually adhesed to something. So you peel this away and you don't have this paper that's in there. But no matter what the fabric is, whether it's silk or cotton, it will feel the same, or at least it feels like paper. So it feeds right nicely through the inkjet. Another question I had gotten this morning was, does it matter what kind of printer you have? It has to be an inkjet printer, and it will say that on it's my ass just there. What kind of printer is this? It has to be inkjet. The Sew Bubbles one here that I did, that is just a graphic that's printed on fabric. This I actually printed on my color laser because I didn't have an inkjet printer anymore. I just had color laser. It prints fine. The problem is that there's no way to heat set it, or it's not treated properly. So if I were to sit and rub this constantly because I'm bored or I'm picking at it, it will fade. The color rubs away. So a laser printer doesn't work, but any inkjet printer will work. These photos that I did on my projects, I didn't have an inkjet printer, and I said, I don't want to buy another one because I just to print photos. It's a $39 Epson printer from Walmart that does the scanning and the photocopying. So yes, if you buy a fancy printer that does high resolution photos, you will get you'll get high quality results because you can make your printer adjustments just like you do for your photos. Mine doesn't have that, but these are the photos that printed from that $39 printer. So from my $39, I get sidetracked very quickly. That's what questions are. Crazy for me. This is the results from that $39 printer. So that's not terrible. So not that bad. Okay, my flower project again, this is all going to be part of a blog series that I'm doing. But it's going to be multi-parts. First part is I'm going to teach you how to do the flower petals because these are in the hoop, and I'll show you how to digitize them, and then you could flower pin. Oh, this guy that I'm wearing here. Well, let me just finish my thought. I will tell you about the flower pin in a minute. The project will be how to do the flower petals, how to do the applique, and how to put the whole thing together. So that's a multi-part series. The pin I'm wearing, this is this was a class I taught at Houston again, and it was, this is silk organza, and this is silk charmeuse that's in the background for the petal. This is done in the hoop. Hold on one second, I have the files right here. The extra little guys. You have to look at my background in my dining room. Had everything nice and neat from going to my ASG meeting today. So this, and they're a little smushed because they got stuck in the thing. These are the embroidery designs. and they are done in the hoop separately. This has 2 layers of, this is silk organza with 1 layer of wash away stabilizer in between. And what I like, they're done in the hoop embroidery, and then I just trim with my nice little sharp scissors ahead of time. This one's a little ratty looking because it was folded up in this guy. I don't wash away all of my stabilizer when I'm doing this because it makes it a little stiff, and I want to be able to form my petals so that they are nice and stiff. So there's still stabilizer in here, and if I was caught in the rain, it might get floppy, but I don't have to worry about that. Now the leaf behind here, that's 2 layers of silk charmeuse, and this has nothing to do with photo printing, but it's also done in the hoop. You need to use the same, and just like in the flower, you want to use nice thread in top and bobbin because you might see the back side of the petals. But this has the same thread, top and bobbin, and this is a leaf design. And I carefully trim around the leaf edges close. You don't want to hit the satin stitches because you don't want to fray them. And this is silk, so it's not meltable. It doesn't work. And in between them is a layer of Stitch and Steam by Bosel. This is a shrinking fabric. So I had done a whole bunch of these in the hoop at one time. So you hoop the 3 layers together. You don't want to add water soluble stabilizer to this mix because you don't want to, it changes the hand of the fabric. So for my projects, I didn't want to include stabilizer on it because I didn't think it would all wash away, and I didn't want to rinse. So I just hooped all the fabrics together, stitched my embroidery design, and once you stitch it, you take your steam iron on a high steam setting. It doesn't need any heat, so you can use one of those portable steamers, and you steam it, and it shrinks. So can you see the difference in size if I put them on top? It shrinks by about 30%. Now the reason that you get such a nice texture on this leaf is because the stitches are a ½ inch apart. If you create any embroidery design that has the pattern is too close together, like I thought I would be able to, I was going to do the center of a flower and have it be cross-hatched. So I did a typical 1/4 inch spacing between the lines. And when I tried to steam it, or I did steam it, there was not 30% to shrink, so it just kind of looked wrinkled. It didn't look textured. So the product I like to use is by Bosel and is called Stitch and Steam. I can show you the package. This is the product, and this comes like in 36 inches, and you don't use much, but you see they have the complete instructions, and you don't want to iron it. You want to just steam it because the heat, and you don't have to go, if you steam it until it doesn't shrink anymore, it's this way forever, so it won't do anything different. But if you stop at any point, it will not shrink any further unless you hit it with more steam. So if you would only wanted a mild steaming, mild texture, you'd only steam it mildly. And you don't want to press it afterwards unless you're going for that flattened look. You'll flatten yours. It won't be pretty and crunchy. But that is just behind my 2 overlapped petals with my leaf behind it. Put an antique button that I had left over from some project before, and it's a nice little pen. It's great if you could put them on a headband. I teach for the silk experience at Houston, so I had to come up with a silk project. Since you're here and you asked, I have another one. We also did in that class a rolled rose. If you have one of those fabric cutters, or you've done scrapbooking, or you have the dies that you can create the paper rolled roses, I just thought they were beautiful. And I tried to recreate it as embroidery design that has a finished edge with a satin edge. And I learned a lot in the process. Another future blog post. But this one is our rolled rose with our leaf attached to it. And my tip for those is, if you ever decide to do one out of fabric on your embroidery machine, is to not rinse out your stabilizer until the rose is complete with your shot of hot glue on the bottom. So you roll your rose, you seal it with your hot glue on the bottom, dry it overnight because you want it to really be stuck, and then take it under the water and just kind of smoosh it out. And now you can go through and form all your flowers while it's still damp and it still has a little bit of water soluble stabilizer in it, or you can put more glue on it or whatever, and you get a nice little rolled rose flower. So a lot of fun. I love what I do, and I don't think I have anything else to share on this. If there's any more questions, I see people are still joining now. Sorry. Oh, lost my thought. Anyway, I really enjoyed doing the Periscope, and I can see how this can have potential and make some of the machine embroidery stuff I do fun. I do a lot of the tutorials in the software online, but you don't get to see a lot of things, and this is just a little informal, and I think it'll be fun. So you'll be seeing this. I'm going to try and do one once a week. That's going to be the plan. I will pick a day and I will announce it on my Facebook page as well as the blog. We'll go into more detail. And again, you can find information. This will be posted to the blog, Facebook, with the PDF file, the hand-on notes. And I hope to see you online. Thanks. Have a great night, guys.